Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us this evening for the first meeting of the Final Four Task Force. I'm Charlotte Chancho, and I've had the privilege to serve as the Superintendent of Schools since 2001. This meeting is available in both English and in Spanish. If you would like to hear this conversation in Spanish, please select Language Preference in the toolbar, and then select Spanish. The meeting is being recorded and will be available on our website, www.mapleton.us.
Esta reunión está disponible tanto en inglés como en español. Si desea escuchar esta conversación en español, seleccione Language Preference en la barra de herramientas y luego seleccione Español. La reunión está siendo grabada y estará disponible en nuestra página web www.mapleton.us.
In previous years, our task force has convened in person. For the continued health and safety of our community and to offer as many community members as possible the opportunity to participate, we are sticking with a virtual platform for now. In April, however, we hope to bring you closer to the work and in-person school-based task force sessions. More on these events later.
Good evening. My name is Tom Moe, and I am Vice President of the Board of Education for Mapleton. And I'm joined tonight by Mallory Boyce, who is our Board Assistant Secretary and Treasurer. I, like you, joined a task force meeting 7 years ago when we were doing phase 2 of our improvement plan. And thanks to all of our community members, like yourselves, we passed a bond in 2016 and were able to build many brand new facilities and update most of our facilities in the district. I hope you've had a chance to go see some of these amazing projects. But we are down to our final 4, and with your help, we hope that we can convince your neighbors and the people in the district to help us complete our plan for updating the whole district. I'd like to have Mallory Boyce now tell us a little bit about herself.
Thanks, Tom. My name is Mallory, and I have been in the district, lived here for over a decade, and both of my children attend Mapleton Public Schools. This is a wonderful district, and we're really excited to see where we take this Final Four, to where every single building in our district has been updated in recent years. That's going to be very exciting.
Thank you, Mallory. Our capital improvement campaign has brought earth movers to all corners of the district. There are so many new school buildings on this map thanks to our supportive community. The final 4 school buildings we will discuss tonight are located north of 88th Avenue in the top section of our district. This evening, we will take a deep dive into the past, present, and future of our facilities master plan. We hope to engage with you as much as possible and invite you to participate in the following ways. The Zoom chat feature is open, and we encourage you to type in your questions, comments, and ideas throughout the meeting. This task force meeting is being live streamed on Facebook also. Please feel free to add your comments, questions, and ideas on our social media platforms. You may also contact us with your thoughts after the meeting by email at communications@mapleton.us. And you are always welcome to call at 303-853-1015. As you can imagine, with many ways to collect information, we will not be able to get to all of the comments shared tonight. We will, however, be recording every comment and will share a recap online as part of our task force meeting minutes. And now I'll turn things over to Ms. Boyce.
Thanks again, Tom. Our agenda this evening includes a look at the purpose of the task force, our facilities master plan, an introduction to our Final Four, and next steps. What is our goal? The goal of the Final Four Task Force is to consider the future facility needs of our growing community and make a recommendation to Mapleton's Board of Education on next steps. We have more than 40 people signed up to participate as part of this task force. This list includes parents, students, staff, business owners, and community partners. We are so grateful for your interest in the task force and for your dedication to Mapleton Public Schools. We are live streaming this event on Facebook, and we do have a link to the meeting posted online. If you are joining us tonight and did not get a chance to sign up to receive notifications as part of the task force, please do so. You can visit www.mapleton.us or scan the QR code you see on your screen right now. It's important that all members of the task force feel welcome and safe to share thoughts, ask questions, and contribute ideas. We would like to identify a few task force norms to assure you feel welcomed and encouraged to express what is important to you, and take the time to understand what is important to other members of the task force. After we review the norms, we will ask you to share any additional norms you would be interested in adding to the list. So we think we should start out with norm 1, listen to learn, seek to understand. Norm 2, be curious, open, and inquisitive. Norm 3, provide honest input and share ideas. And maybe most important, norm 4, have fun. I'll take a moment to see if there are any questions or additions to our norms. Thank you. Let's dig in.
Thank you, Mallory. Our facilities master plan was drafted alongside staff, students, parents, and community members in 2006. This was an exciting year in Mapleton because it was our first year as a full district of choice. We were inviting all families to choose a school that would engage their children based on interests and passions, not necessarily location. As Mapleton stepped into this new and exciting chapter, our facilities remained largely unchanged. Every facility was more than 50 years old, had significant infrastructure problems, and had exceeded useful life. A building's useful life refers to the condition of the building, how long the building and the building systems will last or can be maintained. The master plan assessed the most effective use of capital improvement dollars to begin the process of improving Mapleton's school buildings. As you can imagine, this was a big task when all buildings needed repair or replacement. Phase 1 addressed the Skyview campus, which made up 25% of the district-wide deficiencies. Phase 1 was launched in 2010 after the successful passage of a $32 million bond. This bond also provided the necessary match for Mapleton to receive a $32 million grant from the state's Building Excellent Schools Today program, or BEST program. This combination of bond and BEST funds made possible the construction of Clayton Partnership School, Academy High School, Mapleton Early College High School, or MEC, Mapleton Expeditionary School of the Arts, or MESA, and the North Valley School for Young Adults. And the state covered more than 60% of the bill. Bond funds were used to renovate the Skyview Campus Student Center, where we hope to once again host community events, and a much needed high school addition at York International School.
In 2014, as the last earth mover departed the campus, we focused our sights on phase 2 of our facilities master plan. That year, a bond failed by just a handful of votes. We went to our community for help and created a facilities task force. More than 100 people, parents, community members, business owners, staff, and students met 4 times during 2015 and 2016 to identify site deficiencies at each school and discuss appropriate solutions. From that facilities task force came the plan for the biggest bond in district history, which passed with amazing community support in 2016. This bond kicked off a flurry of activity in our district. You've probably seen at least one earth mover out and about in our district in recent years.
In 2018, we opened the new Adventure Elementary and Global Primary Academy, as well as the impressively renovated Welby Community School. In 2019, we opened Global Leadership Academy and Trailside Academy. And in 2020, we opened Explore Pre-K-8 and Global Intermediate Academy. That's quite an accomplishment for that period of time. This fall, we opened Monterey after extensive renovations and additions, and the Mapleton Arts Center, because all students deserve the chance to perform on Broadway. In August, we hope you will join us for a ribbon cutting celebration at the new Valley View Innovation School. This long, very long list of improved schools was made possible by the community-supported bond and many BEST grants. Mapleton pursues many grants to assure our community is getting the best return on their investments possible. BEST grants supported the rebuild of Adventure Elementary, Global Intermediate Academy, and Valley View, opening this fall.
BEST grant also supported the renovation and additions at Monterey Community School. In total, Mapleton received more than $37 million from the state to cover the cost of construction throughout the district. That's an incredible way to stretch the dollar. The return on our community's investment has been impressive and does not just stop with capital improvements. We have stretched every dollar by receiving nearly $70 million in BEST grants, as well as millions in additional grants for playgrounds and a whole lot more. Since our capital improvements campaign, we have noticed more interest in enrollment from in-district and out-of-district families. And we are seeing improved student attendance, improved graduation rates, and we are a proud leader in early childhood education.
And now we're down to the final four. The final four is a conversation focused on the repair and or replacement of the remaining 4 buildings that have served us well over the years, but have received modest upgrades and improvements. These buildings include York International School, Preschool on Pose, Meadow Community School, and Achieve Academy. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Damon Brown, who will be facilitating the Final Four Task Force. Dr. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Mo. Good evening, everyone. As we discuss the Final Four, we will start with York International School. York International School is a very popular kindergarten through 7th grade international baccalaureate school. I think its popularity is one because of a great reputation, but also because students can start there and go through their entire academic school time there, and have their siblings all in the same place. So it's very popular for a variety of reasons. Although the model and the location are very well known, the building no longer meets the needs of the school. Rebuilding the building, keeping the areas that are newer while reconstructing the older sections of the building, we can ensure that the facility will continue to meet the needs of our current students while drawing in students from across the metro area. In many instances, the overall condition of facilities and the lack of quality space at York does not allow educators to maximize educational experiences and the opportunities for students. And it really hinders the delivery and achievement of all state identified standards. So for this building, we are going to need your help, York families. We would love to hear from you about what you would like to see at the new York K-12 campus. So if you're a York family or staff member or a member of the York community, or you're just familiar with York, please share with us what you see as immediate needs at York. So you're welcome to open up the chat button at the bottom and just start sharing needs. I also wanted to share that a lot of the things that we've been sharing while you're thinking about your questions or your comments, these are concepts. These are not well-designed things that are pre-completed. These are just ideas so that you can dream a little bit. We find that it's easier when you have something in front of you to compare and contrast to what you need or what you want. And so what you'll see here in a moment are just concepts. They're just ideas. So I see we're getting some comments in the chat. Traffic is always something that we look at. Air handling, yes, in the gym. So please keep those going, and thank you for participating. As you continue to type, I'll move along, but keep coming with the ideas, please. We really need them and appreciate them. So now, please share what you think this building needs to better support the student, staff, and school model. Are there things about the model? Are there things that are lacking that would better support the actual academic experience? A lot of the things that we see right now are physical needs, but are there things that are specific to supporting the model better, the International Baccalaureate or a K-12 model better? And as you continue to think about those, I'll remind you that all of the minutes and answers to questions that we know about will be published in minutes after this meeting is over, probably sometime tomorrow or the next day, depending on how long it takes us to get it written. All right. So thank you again. We have a lot of comments in the chat, so we really appreciate that. Now, let me invite the teams from HCM and JHL Construction to help us imagine the possibilities at York. HCM and JHL have been a part of several successful projects, including the new Explore pre-K-8. If you've been up there, it's a magnificent facility. It's really, really beautiful and adds something very special to that community. So I'd like to introduce Josh Francis, Senior Associate, and Adele Wilson, Managing Principal at K-12 Market Sector Leader and K-12 Market Sector Leader, both from HCM, to share some initial ideas. Adele.
Okay, Damon. Well, thank you very much. Well, it's great to see those comments in the chat because those were some of the same ideas that we had. So as we look at this site, we definitely want to improve the vehicular circulation and the drop-off zone and make that much safer for students. And then as we look at where we can build a new addition, we want to try to keep the newest part of the building, which is kind of that existing current high school wing, and then build onto the field. So that was a good idea that somebody put in the chat, so that we can keep the existing building up and running while we build the new addition. So we just started to look at how the site might zone as we started to lay things out. And then we took it to another level to say, well, how might the building be organized to support the International Baccalaureate and to support the fact that it is a PK through 12 school, and we do want to be able to separate some of the grades. So the next slide kind of shows just some very preliminary conceptual ideas that we had, and they kind of align with some of the comments that you made. We kind of want to have some separation of the younger grades and the older grades, and then we want to have things that are shared by all of those grades sort of shared in the middle of the building, and maybe we can kind of create kind of an international main street that connects it all. So we would love to have the library kind of be at the front of the building and kind of a showpiece of the building, because it's such an important space for that International Baccalaureate program. And then we want to make sure we've also got good facilities for the cafeteria and the gym. So this is just one idea that we've had about how to organize the building on the site. Again, really improving the drop off and pickup zone, keeping the bus separate, and trying to have as much play and field space as we can. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Damon.
All right, thank you for sharing that. So right now, we'd love to get some of your reactions. What did you like about these concepts? What might you want to change, and what questions do you have? So let's just take a moment for you to be able to type in the chat. I'll just pick at one of the comments. High school will be the part of York as well. It is going to say a K-12.
And no, it's going to be a pre-K through 12, right, Charlotte?
PK 12.
Right. Yeah, PK through 12. So we are adding preschool to this site.
Yes.
All right, so please feel free as you come up with other thoughts and other ideas, please feel free to share them in the chat. If it's for a specific building at this point, we're now going to move to preschool on pose. So if you can be specific about your comment, like if someone from York has the comment that they thought of, but it's a little bit later, please put York somewhere in the comments so we know what it is. And now preschool on pose families, I don't know how many remember, but originally Clayton Intermediate School was there. And that site is home to a thriving early learning setting. As one of our oldest buildings, originally designed for 5th and 6th graders, the structure leaves really a lot to be desired for our youngest learners. We completed a very modest renovation of the original Clayton building 2 years ago. And our intention was to open a new early learning center in the district, potentially near Explore Pre-K 8, where we have ample property and ample interested families. So thinking about building a new preschool by Explore, which is at the northern part of the district, Pre-K 8, it just got us to thinking about how we could do it in a way that would continue to benefit the entire district and the Explore community. So since day one, Explore has been at capacity at almost every grade level. And more families are interested in attending Explore every single year. In fact, this year it was one of our first schools to have to limit enrollment at each grade level. So preschool on pose and Explore families, please share with us what you see as immediate needs in a new preschool facility. So I'm going to pause for a moment so that you can start adding your comments. Okay, I see a few comments. We promise to be able to answer these completely. All right, I'm going to move on a little bit here, but I see lots of comments coming through. So now please share what you think this building needs to better support students, staff, and their school model. Ryan Fiore is actually the leader at that school, and he has some comments about parking and some of the challenges that they currently face. All right, let's move on then. So once again, I'd like to invite Josh and Adele from HCM to discuss their approach in creating a concept for a campus-like community on the current Explore site to grow our preschool program and the other levels. And Josh, I'm going to pass it over to you. Can you first highlight where the existing building is? Just orient folks to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Damon. Yep. So that's the existing building right there. And, we're very excited to share with you the preliminary concept that we have. Again, it is very early. It's just, one idea that we have been looking at. So to get you oriented, as Damon mentioned, this is the existing Explore, which is a PK through 8 that'll convert to a 3 through 8 school. And then the new school, which you can see right here, will be that PK through 2. So to get you oriented again, north is to the right side of the page, 104th, and then York is to the upper part of the screen that you can see. So when we first started looking at the site, vehicular access, certainly right now is a bit of a challenge off of York. So the primary access point is right there from a vehicular standpoint. Then there's an exit onto 104th. So thinking about adding a new school to this campus, what can we do to improve the vehicular circulation? So the thought is that, we potentially add an access point off of 104th. some additional car queuing or stacking off the existing access road, and then an access into the new site location and new school through there, with another connection potentially onto York. So the building itself, you can see here, is oriented with kind of a central commons area, and then two wings, two classroom wings, one being a pre-K wing and then one being a kinder first and second classroom wing. The other side of the building potentially could have some of your shared spaces, gym, cafeteria, that type of thing. The building right now opens up to a large field / lawn that also opens up to playgrounds, which would be more to the west side of the site that you can see there. So to clarify a few things on the site, so you see the red line here and the blue line here. So the blue is expansion of York further to the east. The red is a drainage ditch that runs through the middle of the site. Both of those things, we certainly cannot build on, we don't think. And, as we think about the early concept here, for anybody who's been to Explore, Explore was kind of built on the rich history of the site and, ranching and farming, and certainly maybe this new building could pick up on that as well. So Damon, with that, I'll turn it back to you.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Josh, for sharing. So now, similar to what we did at York, we would love to know what you think of just this initial proposed, again, it's a concept. What do you like? What would you change? And do you have questions?
David, I want to just kind of chime in here for a second.
Sure.
Just to clarify that with this concept and moving, this would actually move the POP to the north end to be part of the Explore campus. So the current building, the current old building would be scraped. So there would no longer be the POP there. This would move that facility and all programs to this north site. So child find, audiology, all of that would also move up to this north site.
That's a great clarification. And as you heard, we're expanding early childhood opportunities in some of these other plans. So there'd be a centralized site, and then there'd be distribution of preschool opportunities district-wide. All right, thank you. Next, we would like to discuss Meadow Community School. Meadow was originally constructed in 1962 as a K-5 and has only received necessary and modest improvements. Meadow is a very popular community school and is about to transition to an exciting nature and science model. Meadow is a very popular neighborhood school, and we want to work closely with the Meadow community to identify the best solution moving forward. Now, we're thinking that it probably needs to be a rebuild, but and I'll let David share that in just a moment because of the issue with renovation. But after reviewing the costs of both options, it was so clear that a replacement building really is only fiscally and educationally sound solution to bring the Meadow community to the school building they deserve. So to that end, in February 2022, we submitted for another BEST grant to help defray the total cost of rebuild. We have our fingers crossed. We hope to know more about the BEST grant in May of this year. So the BEST grant is what Tom Moe and Mallory Boyce referred to at the very beginning as how we were able to leverage state dollars with bond funds or elected question funds. So please share with us what you see as immediate needs at Meadow Community School. What do you see as immediate needs? All right. Now, please share what you think this building needs to better support student staff in this new school model. We're really excited. If you haven't heard much about it, it's because it's in its early infancy, but it really will be a great addition to our portfolio to have a model that kind of focuses on nature and science. Okay, now we invited the teams from Airbnb Architects and Sampson Construction to help us imagine the possibilities at Meadow Community School. Airbnb Architects and Sampson Construction have done a fantastic job in the district already, and the work includes Trailside Academy and the renovation and addition at Monterey Community School. So I would like to introduce David Kress, principal from Airbnb, and Seth Lehman, Airbnb project manager, to discuss initial concepts around Meadow.
Okay, thank you, Damon. Yeah, like the other teams, we began by assessing the existing building. We met there on a few occasions and toured the building and began to look at the possibilities that it had and then some of the deficiencies, noting some of the things that you're probably familiar with. The exterior walls don't appear to have insulation. There are several classrooms that are buried without daylight or access to views to the outside. Some things like that. So in working with Sampson, we looked at the cost of renovation versus the cost of building new. And we wanted to show you what just a possibility would look like to build a new school on that same site. So as you look at this image where you see the play fields, that's where the existing Meadow Community School exists. And one of the challenges, of course, was to see if we could squeeze a new school in on the site without disrupting that existing school while it's in operation. So that's what we've done here. A couple of things I'll point out. We did look at the idea of pulling that parent drop off, that kind of kiss and go lane off of 91st Street so that it is a safer, more dedicated space for that. We looked at, just with that notion of being a nature and science school, the spaces that you see between the classroom wings, we were kind of envisioning those as being able to build on that theme with community gardens or classroom gardens, things like that. The school is organized with wings that allow us to have better daylighting in those classroom spaces. And then the spaces between those wings would be your media center, your cafeteria, commons area, things like that. And then the bus drop off, of course, would be up at the top along with the service drive. So kind of pulling those things to a safer place. And then after the existing Meadow School would be torn down, the playfields would be created in that space. So again, just an idea. We wanted to kind of stretch ourselves and see if we could keep that existing facility operational while a new facility was created alongside of it.
Thank you, David. At this time, we'd love to know what you think of that initial proposed design. What do you like about it? What would you change? What questions do you have? Yes to lighting, better lighting for sure. This is perfect. Thank you so much for your participation. We really appreciate it. This is very, very helpful and will give us a good launch into what we're going to describe in a little bit for the meetings that will be at each of these sites. So this is a great opportunity for us to have a good foundation when we meet. So thank you. And finally, our final of the final four, Achieve Academy. Achieve Academy, formerly Bertha Hyde Elementary School, has had several renovations throughout the years, but the basic infrastructure of the building is really struggling. The expenses incurred by renovating this building or maintaining it long-term will be more costly than replacing it. This will be the last building to be reconstructed and will end the district's capital construction program anticipated to be in 2026. Because this project would be a little ways out, about 4 years, we haven't selected a team or started to develop conceptual designs. With regard to the instructional program, Achieve will continue to work toward the implementation of the hands-on approach to learning we call expeditionary learning, with a focus and emphasis on developing tomorrow's leaders. So that's their model and that's their school design focus. So please share with us what you see as immediate needs at Achieve. Yes, the recording will be shared later. And actually, I think it's being streamed live on Facebook. These are great comments. Thank you. Now, with regards to the school model, please share what you think the building needs to better support that model, to support the students and staff and just the model itself. All right, we don't have an initial concept at this time, and we're excited to dream with the Achieve community. Please continue to share what you wish for the new Achieve Academy, perhaps an improved gym cafeteria, maybe updated science labs. I saw a call for some lighting. I saw a call for HVAC and more electrical outlets for technology. What about the library? Bigger classrooms, safer entryway. It's one of the few buildings that the office is, you walk past the gymnasium and walk down the stairs and then there's the office. Collaborative spaces, I saw that. Computer labs, just the list can go on and on and on, but we need your help. Please help us add to this list and stay tuned for initial concept designs in the near future. So with that, I'll turn it over to Charlotte Chancho, our superintendent.
Thank you. And as I've been monitoring and looking at all the questions you're asking, there really are this is not a blueprint. We don't have any blueprints or anything done. We really just have kind of spaces identified, maybe sizes of rooms that we need, ideas of, well, we need more spaces for kids to collaborate, and we need a big enough gym for middle schoolers, and things like that have been the conversations. This is very high level. So your input will absolutely be taken into consideration. There's not really anything other than what we showed you. Nothing else is done yet. So all of this will be part of the conversation with you, especially at each of your individual sites as this school gets designed. So there's no design in process yet, just some concepts. If we were to show you this initial concept for the other buildings that we have built, you would see that at this phase, the buildings don't look anything like what we initially imagined them to be, because as we go, it's a very interactive kind of process that improves with a lot of input. So we appreciate your taking the time to share with us what you're thinking about, so we can start adding those into the ideas and the concepts as the architects and designers move into this next phase. So this is the end of our first meeting of the Final Four Task Force. And again, really do appreciate the time and your energy and your ideas that you've shared with us. And we do value and need your input. So in April, each of the schools that we discussed tonight will host an on-site in-person meeting to help our teams dream just a little bit more and get closer to reality. So you're welcome to attend any and all of the meetings. You don't have to be a York family, for example, to come to the York meetings. If you're interested in that facility, please join us for that. We hope that you will help us engage with each school community to raise awareness of this important effort, and then last of these designs and building for these Final Four. The schedule is on that slide that you see right now, and it is on our website. If you are on the task force email list, you will also receive an email with this information. So you can see those start on April 11th, and we're going to have a busy couple of weeks looking at each of those or participating in each of those schools. So that's pretty much it for this part this evening. We've taken a deep dive into the past, the present, and the future of our facilities master plan. We've discussed the goal of the first of the final 4 task force and have gotten your initial thoughts and feedback. We're very excited to continue this conversation with you. If you are not on the task force email, but you would like to participate on the task force, please let us know. Just respond with your name and contact information, and we can add you to that email. We're not limiting the number of people on the task force, so if you'd like to participate, please let us know. So thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome to the task force. Have a great evening.